But at the age of 15, my parents divorced, and then I kind of like went astray. So at the stage in which I was developing my power, my parents got a divorce, and then I kind of like fell victim to the world, because I had no safety net. And that's why I'm so adamant about trying to help a lot of seeds today, because I know what a separation can do. Some young brothers and sisters don't have parents, period. They was raised in the foster care system. I was fortunate to have parents, but I understand too that separation and how you can go astray. And when my parents separated, I started to fall victim to the way of the street, because I had pride, went to private school, and then when I moved from Red Hook to East Flatbush, that's around the same time my parents divorced, and I kind of fell victim to the streets, drinking alcohol every day, old English, and two things happened to change my life at that point. And one was my partner, who I was growing up, who was a very, really good brother. He actually saved my life. My man Winston, he told me about his cousin Cornell, who was a representative of the gang, the Badass Stompers, which is a division of the Jolly Stompers in Brooklyn. And he brought me to his house one day at 15 years old, and I'll never forget, hearing about this brother. The Jolly Stompers at the time was one of the most prominent gangs in Brooklyn. And then I went to his home, and this brother received me. He had a nice little apartment with his mother, and in Rutland Plaza, and he had these photo albums, like yellow pages, bigger than mine. They were thick, and they had members of the gang in it. And the Jolly Stompers was, to me, it's probably one of the flyest gangs that I've ever seen during that time period. It was a combination of African American and Caribbean brothers. So you saw the British Walkers, the London, the straddle jackets. You saw the gold teeth. That combination of cultures came together and formed a unique style. But they weren't building. They were not builders. They weren't adding on in that way. But they had a style about them that I admired, and I admired the photographs that he had. They were very powerful images of the gang pose.
Because he was more like a builder.
I'll say that he was.
Because he was like, kind of influenced you, right?
He brought me into his home and he enlightened me. So I saw another side of the game, you know what I mean? And that was a deep side, because that's a good point that you raised, because he allowed me into his home, somebody he did not know. And he had no idea the influence that he had on me indirectly through both the music that he was playing and through his photo albums. So that encounter really inspired me to want to be a photographer. And when I left him, I was so inspired, because I wanted to take pictures just like that of my people and my surrounding, because I had already saw the power of photography, but I didn't see how I could use it to, I saw the value in looking at photographs and seeing the meaning. But now when looking at his work, of looking at brothers and sisters dressed fly, just a few years older than me, it made me want to go out and document my community. So I left him, and I borrowed my mother's little Kodak Instamatic camera, and I started photographing my peers in junior high school. And it immediately gave me a voice. It allowed me to open up a third eye. When I looked at the viewfinder, I started to look at life from a very different perspective. And now I got purpose.
If Mecca did this.